Hello! Today, let's play Treasure Island Dizzy. I'm Philip.
And I'm Andrew.
And together we are the Oliver twins. This game is the second in the Dizzy series. We wrote this back in 1988. That's some 27 years ago.
Okay, it's loaded. Welcome to Treasure Island Dizzy.
Let's get started on our Treasure Island adventure. So we start out on the beach with the sea to the right and no way to get past that, and a cliff to the left. It's too high to jump, so our first problem, a very simple challenge, is how do you get up the cliff. It's a puzzle game, so let's solve the first puzzle.
I've picked up an empty solid chest, and it looks as though we were having an inventory, so that we've moved on from the single item from Dizzy 1, and we've got an inventory of 3 items. And as I put things down, so I've picked up a chest, a nice solid chest, with the idea that you can stand on top of a solid chest, and you can now climb up the cliff.
The 3 items are all on a single key, simple input, with the idea that the items scroll up. We were quite keen to just keep the controls as simple as possible, but that did lead to some tricky and interesting situations where the item you wanted to put down was at the bottom of the list, so you had to put down 2 other items first. Caused some interesting challenges, but it did retain the simplicity of a single action button, which we wanted.
Yeah, so it's just left, right, jump and action. So the action here, we can read a scroll. Legend has it that Hookjaw the pirate, buried here, still guards over his treasure. Okay, nice sort of little backstory things that we started to put in.
Narrative is very, very important for sort of grabbing people's imagination.
A tube of toothpaste. What the hell's a tube of toothpaste doing on a desert island? Okay, carry on. Sorry.
I have
how is that useful?
Well, we'll find if it's useful, although it might be one of those red herrings, because I have to say that we did always put an item or 2 into our challenges that...
including a red herring.
Including a red herring.
Which someone said somewhere on some forum, I never did find a puzzle that was useful for the red herring.
Which, yes, there's a reason for that.
Right, okay, we've got another bit of backstory here. Oh, the Snoggles tree.
Snoogles.
Oh, Snoogles, is that complex? Treehouse complex. Deserted now since the threat of the tourists ruining the peaceful life. I'll tell you what, it might have had a big backstory, but it's a bit of an odd one.
It's for people to imagine what they want.
Okay.
And maybe they'll find the Snoogles. Who knows?
Okay. A misty glass
window.
And
as you took the window out, there was a coin behind it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we had this sort of sub-game to actually complete the whole game. It says you have to find all 30 coins. But we were a bit mean and wicked in the fact that we put the coins behind some objects and made them invisible. And I don't know actually why I just picked up that window. It just looked like I was going to look through the window or something. That was kind of a mistake, but maybe that's the way our mind was working at the time. But people go, oh, look, there's a window or there's a door. I'll see if I can go through it.
It's interesting you found that. I would say, I would remind people sort of watching this that we haven't played this game.
I've no idea what I'm doing.
In 27 years, really,
no.
Honestly.
Yeah,
and if we had a bit more time, we might have genned up on it a little, but consider us noobs with a little bit of kind of vague memory of kind of what this game was all about.
Yeah, very vague. I've got a vague... no, there is a trap up there, and I do remember that was to do with his pet, Pogie.
No, that's a different... Was
that a different game? Okay.
It could well be.
I
think Pogie came along in another game.
Is it going to fall on me if I go down on it? It better flipping not. Well, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, okay. Hang on. Oh, this is the game that's only got the single life. Oh, I have to apologise to everyone on this. This game just has a single life, and it was a big, big mistake. Yeah, again, one of those mistakes where had other people been sort of focus testing our games or just even playing them at all. But
Before we mastered them.
Before we mastered them, then maybe they'd have pointed out these really frustrating things.
What actually happened was we obviously had the 3 lives in the original Dizzy, and in fact you could get extras in that. But once we'd introduced the underwater section into Treasure Island Dizzy and swimming with the snorkel, we kept finding all sorts of problems whereby people would we would put down the snorkel underwater accidentally, partly because of this scrolling inventory. You would die leaving the snorkel underwater.
Or on the other island. If you're on the far island, wasn't it you put things down?
We got into a bit
forever.
We got into a bit of a problem of sort of how to reset Dizzy into a good sort of safe place
where the game isn't then impossible.
Yeah, and unfortunately we at the time just couldn't solve the problem. Bearing in mind, we wrote these games in a matter of sort of a few weeks. I mean, we're talking this one again, something like 6 weeks. Trying to solve that logic problem, we probably gave ourselves a day maximum to see if we could find a solution.
Yeah, it's not a good solution given one life, though.
No, this was...
have to apologise about that.
Yeah, a little bit of a cop-out. There's one of those coins. A little bit of a cop-out in basically just changing the number of lives to solve the problem, which made Treasure Island Dizzy easily the hardest Dizzy game.
How do I get up there? No. So I jump up there. I'm stuck. Okay.
You can walk around that way.
It looks like I might be able to get up there. Okay, I do remember the treehouse being made as an interesting maze, and one of the reasons we chose on a treehouse is because, well, treehouses are cool and imaginative and things, but we were big fans of Star Wars and the Ewok village. There was always a kind of, oh wow, tree, like that's the way to do a treehouse. We thought we should have a game with a treehouse in.
Our game was also side on, and we didn't want to just go left and right. We wanted height in the map and a complex kind of puzzle to solve, just like a maze. So the treehouse gave us the opportunity to sort of put a vertical maze. So let's just quickly talk about why we actually wrote this game. The previous year, we'd written the original Dizzy game. It sold okay, but what was really interesting about it was that it's kept selling constantly. Most games, when you produce them for the shops and in boxes, they sell very, very well initially on launch. You get like 50% of your sales kind of in the first week or the first month. And then the sales drop off quite quickly until after about 3 months, the sales are such that the shops start delisting it and you can't find it in the shops. But Dizzy had been very successful in the fact that the shops had retained it on the shelves. It had sold absolutely constantly for a year, and Codemasters were receiving lots of fan mail which they would pass on to us every time we would visit. So we clearly realised that we had a lot of sort of avid followers and avid fans, and the fact that this game, the original Dizzy, had sold so constantly and so solidly for a year meant the sales now were actually very high, and competing with things like the Robin Hood and Grand Prix simulators of this world. So that's what kind of convinced us to go back and do Treasure Island Dizzy.
It's really hard though. Really. Is there a way of okay.
Just don't hit the bottom.
That's a bit odd.
I have no idea. One interesting thing was that we
do not remember that at all.
We used to write all the games on the Amstrad initially, and then port them over to the Spectrum. So they were written from the Amstrad, but you can't even see that cage.
Come on, like one life, and they got like we put a nasty trap like that. That's just horrible. I mean, yeah,
you live and learn.
Yeah, I'll try to remember not to do that again.
No, you've always got to make sure that you can see your dangers.
Yeah, we've learned a lot of things since writing this game, I can tell you.
Okay, I have forgotten where I was. Yes, we wrote them originally on the Amstrad using the CPCs, using a Maxam ROM assembler in Z80. We squeezed them into about 30k of memory. We'd port it through a cable from the back of the Amstrad into the Spectrum. Original versions were Amstrad CPC and Spectrum, which we wrote.
And then Somebody converted it to the Commodore 64 and later ST and Amiga and the PC. Also, the foundations of this game went in towards Fantastic Dizzy, which we wrote a few years later on the NES. So that was an opportunity to combine lots of Dizzy games that we've written, the first 3 Dizzy games, all into one big polished Nintendo game for a cartridge.
Let's have a look at the map. It was actually a huge map. It went all the way from the desert coast to the left to across the bridge. Underneath the bridge was a massive cave complex you got through via the grave. You then found yourself into the big treehouse maze. And on the left of the maze was a large mining complex. Going from the right of the starting point took you straight into the ocean, where you could find a shipwreck, some underwater caves, and then up onto the other side where you could find the shopkeeper and various little houses and a boat across a river. So let's wrap it up there, Andrew.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and listening to us reminisce about the game. I hope also that you had a chance to play the game when it came around first time all those years ago, and I can only apologise for the fact that it only had one life.
We like to call that challenging. Anyway, let's sign off. Thank you very much for watching. This is me, Philip, saying goodbye.
And Andrew, bye.